1. The talking dog. A man sees a sign in front of a house. Talking dog for sale. He rings the doorbell, and the owner tells him the dog is in the backyard. The man walks into the backyard and asks the dog, "Can you talk?" "Yep," the dog replies. "So what's your story?" The dog looks up and says, "Well, I discovered my ability to talk when I was young. I told the CIA, and they had me travel around the world, telling people secrets. I've lived a life of luxury, traveling in private jets, and I even starred in a few movies." The man is amazed. He asks the owner how much the dog costs. The owner says, $10. $10? But the dog is amazing. Why the low price? The owner replies, "Because he's a liar. He didn't do any of that stuff." 2. The chicken crossing the road. A chicken walks into a bar and orders a drink. The bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here." The chicken looks at him and replies, "Don't you think you've been crossing the line? You know you've been asked this 1,000 times already. Oh, come on. Why did you cross the road?" The chicken grins and says, "To get to the other side, of course." "Really?" the bartender says, shaking his head. "That's it? You've been telling that same joke for years." The chicken winks and says, "It's not a joke. It's just my life's ambition." 3. The talking parrot. A man buys a parrot from a pet store. The store owner warns him, "This bird used to live in a rough neighborhood, so he might have a colorful vocabulary." The man thinks nothing of it and takes the parrot home. The next day, the parrot says, "Hey, you look great today." The man smiles, "Thanks, buddy." The day after, the parrot says, "Why is your hair all messed up?" The man is a bit confused but says, "Well, it's been a busy day." A few days later, the parrot says, "You should really change your shirt." The man, getting annoyed, asks the parrot, "What's your problem?" The parrot says, "Well, I just think if I lived in a better neighborhood, I wouldn't have to put up with you." The man sighs. Maybe it's time for a change in the neighborhood. 4. The doctor and the patient. A man walks into a doctor's office and says, "Doc, it hurts when I touch my shoulder, my leg, my head, everywhere. What's wrong with me?" The doctor examines him for a while, then says, "Well, it looks like you've broken your finger." 5. The smart dog. A woman takes her dog to the vet for a checkup. "My dog seems to be acting strange," she says. "He can't seem to remember anything." The vet looks at the dog and asks, "What's the problem, boy?" The dog answers, "I'm trying to remember where I left my bone. I've looked everywhere." The woman is stunned and says to the vet, "Can you do something about this?" The vet smiles and says, "I've got a trick up my sleeve. I'll help him. He just needs to stop barking so much." 6. The fish in the bar. A fish walks into a bar. The bartender looks up and says, "What can I get you?" The fish says, "I'll have a cold one, please." The bartender says, "Are you sure you want a drink? You're already in water." The fish smiles and says, "I know, but I just like the idea of a drink with some bubbles." 7. The haunted house. A guy buys a new house, but it's a bit run down. He decides to fix it up. But when he walks into the living room, the lights flicker on and off. "That's weird," he thinks. As he heads upstairs, a loud creak comes from the floorboards. "I guess I'll need to hire someone to check the pipes." He enters his bedroom, and suddenly, a ghost appears in front of him. The ghost says, "I've been haunting this house for over 100 years. The man calmly replies, "That's nice. Have you heard of the internet? You could really make a living off that haunting stuff. You know, like a YouTube channel."